When was the last time you picked up a copy of The Color Purple or sang along with the First Lady of Song? February is Black History Month, and what better way to observe than by celebrating African American authors, poets, musicians, and entertainers? There are many African Americans throughout history that have contributed to the arts. I have highlighted a few in this homage to some of the greats.
Sisters and brothers, this is Reverend Satchmo getting ready to beat out this mellow sermon for you. My text this evening is when the saints go marching in. Here come Brother Hickenbottom down the aisle with his trombones. Blow it, boy.
Armstrong is one of America's most influential jazz trumpeters. Hailing from New Orleans, his raspy voice and stage personality are almost as easily recognizable as his trumpet sound.
And now, a little tune that everybody hums and very few people know the name of. Things ain't what they used to be.
You can't discuss jazz without discussing Duke Ellington. This big band jazz composer and pianist wrote more than 1,000 compositions. Ellington preferred to refer to his work as American music rather than jazz, but his influence in the jazz genre is one of the strongest.
Funny Valentine.
The First Lady of Song, Ella Fitzgerald's singing career spanned 59 years and earned numerous awards, including national medals from both Ronald Reagan and George H.W. Bush. Strong on stage but shy in person, Fitzgerald once remarked, "I don't want to say the wrong thing, which I always do. I think I do better when I sing." Pioneer of soul music, Ray Charles was completely blind by age 7. It was at this point that he also developed his talent as a singer and pianist. Musicologist Henry Pleasant writes of him, "Ray Charles is a master of sound. His records disclose an extraordinary assortment of slurs, slides, turns, shrieks, wails, breaks, shouts, screams, and hollers, all wonderfully controlled."
The Candyman can, 'cause he mixes it with love and makes the world taste good.
Sammy Davis Jr. began his career as an American entertainer at the age of 3. At the age of 7, Davis played the title role in the film Rufus Jones for President. Davis became a member of the famous Rat Pack in 1959. Aside from his dance career, Davis starred in many films including Ocean's 11, Robin and the Seven Hoods, and Mr. Wonderful. Davis was a victim of racism throughout his life and was a large supporter of the civil rights movement.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, and just like the river I've been running.
A founder of American Soul, Sam Cooke's music helped pave the way for other iconic black musicians such as Aretha Franklin, Stevie Wonder, and Marvin Gaye. Cooke also founded a record label and publishing company, taking an active role in the music business. After escaping slavery, Frederick Douglass became a leader in the abolitionist and women's suffrage movements. Douglass is famous for his eloquent writing and oratory skills, and also held several roles in public office. W.E.B. Du Bois was a famous black author and editor, not to mention a sociologist, historian, and civil rights activist. Du Bois was also the first African American to earn a doctorate degree and went on to co-found the NAACP in 1909. One of the earliest and most well-known innovators of jazz poetry, Langston Hughes wore many hats. Known as a poet, columnist, social activist, playwright, and novelist, Hughes is best known for his work during the Harlem Renaissance. The Nicholas Brothers were a team of dancing brothers who performed a highly acrobatic technique known as flash dancing. With a high level of artistry and daring innovations, they were considered by many to be the greatest tap dancers of their day. Their performance in the musical number Jumpin' Jive with Cab Calloway and his orchestra, featured in the movie Stormy Weather, is considered by many to be the most voracious dance display of all time. They became stars of the jazz circuit during the heyday of the Harlem Renaissance and went on to have successful careers performing on stage, film, and television well into the 1990s. Like writer Langston Hughes, Zora Neale Hurston was part of the Harlem Renaissance of the 1920s. Hurston is best known for writing the 1937 novel Their Eyes Were Watching God, which she wrote during her fieldwork in Haiti. Alex Haley was an American author. He published his first book, The Autobiography of Malcolm X, in 1965. In 1976, Haley published a novel titled Roots, the saga of an American family. Haley won a Pulitzer Prize for Roots in 1977. Roots was also adopted as a miniseries by ABC that same year. Toni Morrison's work is beautiful, engaging, and thought-provoking, but don't take my word for it. Morrison has received some of the biggest accolades out there, including the Nobel Prize, the Pulitzer Prize, and the Presidential Medal of Freedom. An author and poet, Alice Walker was also a prominent activist during the Civil Rights Movement. Her most recognized work, The Color Purple, won both the Pulitzer Prize and the National Book Award. Dorothy Dandridge was an American singer, dancer, and actress. During her youth, she performed as part of a group called the Wonder Sisters. The Dandridge sisters performed at the famous Cotton Club as well as the Apollo Theater. Dandridge became the first African American to be nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actress. Dandridge was nominated for a Golden Globe Award for her performance in Porgy and Bess. Dandridge also became the first African American woman to be featured on the cover of Life magazine. Hattie McDaniel was born to former slaves in 1895 and was the youngest of 13 children. McDaniel was the first African American actress to win an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress for her role in Gone with the Wind as Mammy. She also acted in many other films and was a professional singer-songwriter, radio performer, television star, and comedian. Gordon Parks was a trailblazer in film, photography, music, and literature. He became famous for his portraits of African American leaders such as Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, and Stokely Carmichael. In 1948, Parks landed a position as a staff photographer for Life magazine. He became the first African American photographer for both Life and Vogue magazines. Parks would later become a writer, publishing his autobiography, The Learning Tree, in 1962. In 1969, Parks became the first African American to direct a major Hollywood movie. His first film was an adaptation of his own autobiography. Parks' next movie, Shaft, was one of the biggest box office hits in 1971. More than an actor and Academy Award winner, Sidney Poitier is an artist. As a writer, director, thinker, humanitarian, and diplomat, his presence as a cultural icon has long been one of protest and humanity. His career defined and documented the modern history of blacks in American film, and his depiction of proud and powerful characters was and remains revolutionary. Miss Carroll is an American television and stage actress as well as singer. Some of her earliest appearances in a major studio which featured black cast were Carmen Jones and Porgy and Bess. She starred in Julia, one of the first series which portrayed a black woman in a non-stereotypical role. She went on to create the role of Dominique Devereaux on the primetime series Dynasty. She was nominated for an Emmy in 1963 for The Naked City. She won the Golden Globe for Best Actress in a Television Series in 1968. Carroll has since been nominated for a third Emmy in 1989 for her recurring role of Marion in A Different World, and appeared in a medical drama, Grey's Anatomy. Carroll has made many successful movies, films, productions, and documentaries entitled One a Minute. Oprah Winfrey is an American proprietor, actress, producer, philanthropist, and talk show host. She was born Oprah Gail Winfrey on January 29, 1954, in Mississippi. Winfrey was born in poverty by a teenage single mother. After enduring several years of abuse, Winfrey moved to Nashville to live with her father. She won the Miss Black Tennessee pageant at the age of 18. In 1976, Winfrey moved to Baltimore, Maryland to host a TV chat show. After 8 years, she was recruited by a Chicago television station to host her own morning show. This would lead to the Oprah Winfrey Show, which would air for 2.5 decades. Winfrey founded her own production company, Harpo, in 1986. Some of her most notable productions were The Women of Brewster Place and The Color Purple, in which she had starring roles. On January 1st, 2011, Winfrey debuted her own network. I have spotlighted a few of the numerous authors, singers, actors that shine throughout history. We celebrate Black History Month in February. Take some time to find out about the many others that have come before us to pave the way.